At West Coast Appliance and Furniture, get huge GE savings. Save up to 35% on select GE appliances in the finish of your choice. Plus, ask about special financing at West Coast Appliance and Furniture on Crater Lake Highway, Central Point.
On the news, we often talk about crime, but not always the victim behind it.
This morning, Fox 26's Amanda Rose highlights organizations that work to help the victim.
We tend to focus on the actual crime in culture, and we forget that there's someone behind it.
Every day we encounter survivors and victims of crimes, whether it be a neighbor, friend, or family member, and we may not even know it.
Thank you for calling the National Domestic Violence Hotline.
According to the National Domestic Violence Hotline, 24 people per minute are victims of rape, physical violence, or stalking by an intimate partner in the United States. That's more than 12 million women and men over the course of a year.
It isn't that someone's choosing to allow it to happen. It happens because someone else made the decision to do something to victimize them.
But the numbers are just that, numbers. They can't speak, shout, or breathe. It's why Barbara Johnson, Executive Director of Domestic and Sexual Violence Resource Center Community Works, says it's so important to give victims back their voice.
Bringing it up and saying, this is not acceptable.
She says a fundamental part of victims having a voice is to know their rights. In Oregon, victims have the right to dignity and respect, the right to speak at some court hearings, and restitution.
There are people who are going through an incident that may be the most traumatic thing that's ever happened to them in their life.
That's where Tammy Pitson and Diana Hamilton come in.
There's a job that has to be done by the system, but there are people involved in that.
They say many times people feel afraid to come forward, but that it's necessary in order to put perpetrators behind bars.
The district attorney's office, our goal is to hold offenders accountable.
Pitson and Hamilton admit the judicial system is about justice, not healing. That's why Johnson says when it comes to victims learning to live through trauma, it's a slow and difficult process that begins with recognizing they're not alone in their fight.
We are all going to be in this together, and we're not going to give up on them.
In Medford, Amanda Rose, Fox 26 News.
Amanda, thank you. In honor of National Crime Victims' Rights Week, an event will be held at the Jackson County Public Library. That's happening from 5:30 to 7:30 tonight.